Holly Cotton here, and you guys know I am all about the female empowerment. Every time I have a woman that is doing something that is part of the movement, I always have to highlight her. So I'm so excited to introduce you guys today to Veronica Ebie. And Veronica is in Nigeria, correct? Where are
Yes, I
you at?
am currently. I'm right now. I am in Nigeria, Holly. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So getting the time the time together for both of us was crazy, but I
Yeah.
appreciate her being flexible. And so Veronica is actually doing something that I think is very unique, and she is talking about the diversity and the inclusion of basically implementing African culture here in the United States and how she's trying to mitigate that and everything. So we're going to talk about all of those things today, as well as her fashion, lifestyle, retail consulting, all of those great things. So, welcome, Veronica.
Thank you, Holly, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so one, I want to go back. Excuse me. One, I want to go back and I want to talk about how you found fashion because
Okay.
I think I'm cute. I think I got a little bit of fashion sense. Like I'm like, you know what? I like that dress. I like these
Yeah.
shoes. But to do that as a career, I
hmm
I just don't have the mental capacity to do that. So,
I
how
know.
did you find fashion, or how did fashion find you?
So I must say that it must have just been inbred, but really early on, maybe like at the age of 12, 13, I started to realize that, it's beyond what people will say, oh, it's cute, it looks nice. I would analyze the way people would look and angles, and I would say things like, well, the skirt just needs to be maybe a little shorter, and if this top was just maybe cut in a little bit better, it would fit more. And I didn't even know that this was a thing, right? This is just me observing at the age of 11 and 12. And then I started modeling really early, I think about 16, while I was finishing high school. And then from there, you're introduced to designers and you're seeing fabric and clothing, and you see, and I begin to understand just how amazing you can transform yourself just with the right clothes or the textures or the fabrics. And there is something magical about clothing and when it fits right. So I think that's when I was first introduced to it. And just throughout my life, I didn't even, like I said, know that it could be a career. I just knew that I loved it. But wasn't sure if it was more designing or if it was more styling. But as I continued to evolve and grow and found out that I was really passionate and drawn to women and helping them look good, I would just give my input to friends. I'd be like, oh, well, you know what? There's this really cute top. Let me help you get it. And, we'd look it up and I'd help people organize their wardrobes. And before you knew what was going on, I realized that okay, well, there is something here, and there's a career in this direction. And before you know what's going on, here I am today and doing this whole thing, and never tired and just loving it all the time. So it's evolved.
So you said something, Veronica, and I would like you to go into it a little more in depth because you
Okay.
said I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do designing or
Mm-hmm.
styling. And
Yeah.
so can you kind of explain that to what like us that aren't in that? Because always see fashion designer,
Mm-hmm.
fashion stylist,
Yeah.
model. So can you kind of give us, I guess, a little definition of what the difference is between styling and
Mm-hmm.
designing?
Okay. So I feel as a designer, you're more concentrated in one specific area, right? So it could be like school, liken it to being in school. Okay, I'm a good student, but I know a little bit about everything, but I'm extremely good in math. So designing is more like that. You have a very, very strong point of view, and that continues to be expressed from season to season. It never changes. It's a very strong aesthetic. However, with styling, you almost have like this amazing eye of creating pieces or being playing like a game of fairy tale or being imaginative. So you're not as restricted in the way that you see clothing and in the way that things pair. You might have a sense of style in, oh, I love clean lines, but you're not restricted because you're able to edit, which is take from everything and put it together to combine. So there is a big difference in where at designing, a designer can't necessarily help a stylist, but a stylist can help a designer because your eye is going to edit it completely different than a designer would, who is extremely attached to what they're creating. So there's just that bit of a difference for people to be able to understand. I hope that was
Yeah,
clear.
that's what I was asking. That's why I was like, "Well, what's the difference?" Well, I
Yeah.
can let you know I'm neither of those two. I am a I'm just like, oh, that's cute. Let me put it on.
Yeah.
You probably would be like, Holly, you need to, and I have a friend and he's very much like that with the
Mhm.
accessories because he'll always be like, oh my God. And he'll have like a scarf or
Mhm.
whatever or something
Yeah.
or the jacket or the lining of the jacket. And I'm like, I don't
It's
have
just
time
too
for that.
much. Yeah.
But that's just why,
Yeah.
because I'm not a stylist. Okay,
Exactly.
thank you, Veronica, for explaining that.
Ah.
Now, what I want to talk about is
Mhm.
your mission, and like we were talking about the basically the goal is for you with trying to show the diversity
Mhm.
and also how to implement that into the US culture. So
Yeah.
tell us about that and what your goal is and how you're going about doing that.
So it's really interesting. The whole thing birthed from me working with a lot of women. So here in Nigeria, I style a lot of women personally with their wardrobes and a lot of H&Is, or like we like to say, newsworthy women who have extremely successful careers, extremely busy and demanding careers, right? But they either need to look the part because they have a multinational role, or they actually absolutely love fashion, but they just don't have the time between work and family and friends and everything. That's not your priority. So we help a lot of these women organize their wardrobes from speaking engagements, conferences, work trips, whatever it is, so that in the public eye, they actually look the part of how they want to be addressed. Um, from doing that, I realized that my services I wasn't available, right? Me and my team to service everyone. So the retail store came from that because I had a lot of people just saying, well, we love the way you put things together. You're really conservative with your sense of style. It's very relatable. How can we also access these pieces? Well, I had built up relationships with so many of the designers over the years, and I had worked with them in terms of their collections and editing their brands and helping them really reach their consumers, that it was a natural step. The thing about retail here in Nigeria or in West Africa as a whole is we don't work with the seasons how designers work in Europe or in America, right? So you have spring and summer, you have winter, fall, you put the collections, you have capsule collections. We don't work that way, right? Because we don't necessarily have the strength in order to follow through. So you have retail stores and you have to find a way to create this balance in this medium between the designers who are creating amazing pieces and pushing it to where people can actually access it easily and readily. So the Ready for Retail initiative was birthed from that because I wanted designers who do traditional runway collections, even if they're not showing and presenting like in New York Fashion Week or London Fashion Week or Paris, but they are putting together very strong collections that I am aware of during fashion weeks here that we have, and also merging it so that the everyday woman can have faster access to these pieces. And so we started to put this initiative together year after year because, like everyone else, like you and like me, we see things on the runway. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that. How can I get that? And I just decided, you know what? I know a lot of the designers, they'll be willing to put these pieces together. Let's do this. I started to realize that we had a huge number of shoppers concentrated in Canada, the UK, and in the United States, and specifically in the South. So in Houston, then we had quite a lot of people in the DC area. It started to increase a lot. And then throughout the year, they would come into the store when they visit Nigeria and they'd be like, oh my God, I love your eye. I love your edit. I love what you have. We don't have this in DC. We don't have this in Houston. How can we get these pieces? Well, of course, there's an issue with logistics, sizing, pricing. And so that was the whole purpose of us having this. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to create this initiative and I'm going to bring the pieces to you so that you feel included. And also, there needs to be diversity in fashion and, also to demystify a lot of the things that people say, which is, maybe the finishing isn't great. Can we produce in West Africa? Do they have a great sense of style? All of these things. And so that's the reason why we have these pop ups. I've done one last year and this is the second time around. And I'm really excited because the feedback has been really great so far. So I'm excited.
So when I'm looking at, so it says, I'm reading
Yeah.
the blurb about you. In Nigeria, a vibrant hub of creative brilliance and rich cultural heritage. So whenever we're talking, so one, I've been to every continent except for Africa. It's on my to-do list.
Oh,
But
okay.
I know, but I know that there are a lot of people here who will wear African-based pieces, and I
Hmm.
know it's multiple countries. I'm
Yeah.
just using Africa just in general.
Yeah.
But so, how do you make sure that the culture
Mm-hmm.
is not lost, because there's so many people who are desensitized. They think
Mm-hmm.
because they wear a turban
Yes.
that, that, or they think because they have something with a pattern on it,
Yes.
now this is heritage. But a
Yes.
lot of that is not even manufactured here in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of that is manufactured here in America,
Mm-hmm.
not even in Africa.
Yeah.
So, how do you bridge that gap, and how are you able to educate people on, like, this is what cultural items are to wear?
Yeah.
These are cultural pieces. That's just something that someone made with African colors.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting, Holly, that you asked me that. I remember when I first moved to Nigeria, it was in 2010, and it was completely different from what I thought growing up in Houston fashion was, or being African or wearing something was. I was like, I was so loud and so wrong. You come here and people are so sophisticated in the way they dress, and it's such a big deal to dress up every day, even on a casual day, right? I don't even leave the house with a t-shirt and jeans. It's such a, even if you're dressing relaxed. So the first thing I think was educating myself to be like, well, let me try to understand. We have the same kind of weather condition. It is hot. We have the same kind of movement. We're outside. We are social. We're engaging. Okay, what are people wearing? Why are they wearing this? So certain fabrics are unique to us that we wear. Certain cotton, certain linen, a lot of linen, breathable textures because of the weather. That was the first thing. And then the second thing was we have this major thing in Africa, no matter what African countries, owambe, so parties. Most West African countries, especially like Nigeria, were very celebratory, just like Italians as well. So everything is centered around family and community and togetherness. And when they would get together, they have on these beautiful outfits, either blouses with the wrapper of how they tie it. So that is the first step of wearing something that is traditional West African or traditional African. And then also kaftans. Why? Because it's easy and sophisticated and elegant. So what happened is the silhouette of the wrapper now being modernized by how designers now have modernized it. Instead of you wrapping it, because it comes in a cloth and wrapping it, a lot of them will cut a silhouette so it's like a skirt. And you zip into it and it looks like a wrapper, but it still gives you the same feel and the same appeal, right? So you're merging a lot of traditional cultural ethics in style and you're modernizing it now so that it's more approachable and wearable for every culture, which is very inclusive. So I started to realize that that's what a lot of West African clients, a lot of Black American clients, a lot of Americans in general seem to gravitate towards what they loved about the fact that I was bringing things or they were buying from the stores. There's something about this that reminds me of home, or there's something about this that's nostalgic, or there's something about this that I can relate to that's cultural, but it's still modern to me. And I feel like that was the way that I could begin to understand, well, while we are all can relate, there is a little bit of a difference so that people still feel connected through the sense of fashion. And I just think that that's great.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay, yeah. See, that's what I was asking,
Yes.
because it's also hard, because I can tell you, just even when I was a nurse,
Hmm.
and I remember like working on the
Hmm.
floor, and there was always this line between our African nurses
Hmm.
and the Black nurses on the
Yeah.
floor, and I was like, but why is it not integrated?
Hmm.
Because we're all, you would think that everyone being a minority would be
Yes.
trying to stick
Together.
together. So, I was like, okay, why is it like
Hmm.
this line going on? So have you had any pushback or any challenges, or have you dealt with anything going and trying to, like you said,
Hmm.
cross over borders with this product
Yeah,
line?
so it is a bit challenging, because you do have like the major stores where I have gone to several department stores and I'm looking around and I'm like, this doesn't really represent what you consider to be West African style or what you consider to be representative of Nigerian designers. The way you would have a Spanish designer, the way you would have an Italian designer, right? There are certain fabrics or cuts or silhouettes or styles that are very relatable to their culture or their community or their, and I would see things that were not necessarily relatable, one, or the second thing is I wouldn't see anything at all, right? So there was nothing different. Everything was very bland. And I'm just like, well, how do I know there's a group of people that want to shop, how do we get these brands here? How do we do this? So I was getting a lot of pushback, and I just decided, you know what? If you can't beat them, just join them. Why not just have my own thing here and let the data, let the numbers kind of just speak for themselves, right? So that's what we started doing. We tested it out the first time. The response was great, and now we're having two more pop-ups. We've done a couple within Nigeria, just kind of expand, and now we're having like the next two in the DMV and then in Houston. But while I have had pushbacks in terms of sending emails and trying to reach out and trying to find buyers that I can relate to and stuff like that, the client and the consumer, who at the end of the day, that's who's buying the product. Those are who are buying the things from the multi brands. They are the ones who are saying, well, we're going to take you regardless of where you set up. And that has been welcoming. So I've had more highs than lows. And we're just going to continue to push forward. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I love that. Yeah, and I always say that I could care less about your
Yes.
opinion about me because if it's not paying me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. now, now if it's someone where we're collaborating
Yeah.
and they're like, "Holly, maybe we should try this."
Hmm.
Okay, that's an investment. But
Exactly.
just people who always have something negative to say, in and out, I don't
Exactly.
even not even in a lot of time, Veronica, because I don't even let it penetrate the aura.
Exactly. And that's the way it
so
should be. Yes.
I love that. I love that. Okay. So before we talk about your event
Hmm.
coming up, I also just wanted, because I love to hear people's stories. And I know you shared about how fashion sort of was just grown
Yeah.
in you, how it was always something that you did. So what was the first thing that you actually, where you were like, wow, this is me. I did this. I love
Hmm.
this. I love this piece. I love whatever it is. What was that moment where you were like, wow, I'm really where I should be?
There have been a couple of moments. I've had a couple of wow moments because I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of very notable and prestigious women in Nigeria. So I wouldn't say that there would be one moment, but there was this guy that I really liked. I admired him. He was a photographer, and his name was Laki. His name is Laki Ogumawo, and I remember meeting him and he was upcoming, and I just kept saying, my goodness, I definitely want to work with him. I definitely want to work with him. And I remember one day he reached out to me and said, I have this photo shoot that I want to do. Would you be willing to participate? And I said, sure. And I did the photo shoot with him, and the pictures were absolutely amazing for a campaign. In fact, I still remember it to this day. It wasn't anything major, but I looked at it and I just kept saying, wow, this is such a strong moment. But I've also had moments where I've styled. I think my first really big aha moment was I had to style Genevieve Naji, who's like the Oprah. She was on Oprah and interviewed as the Julia Roberts of Africa at the time. I remember when she interviewed with Oprah, and it was such a big deal. And we started working together, and I had to style her for the AMVCAs, which is a major red carpet movie premiere award in Nigeria. And the pictures went viral. Like it was such a moment because I was like, yeah, I did that. So that I think for me was the really big, like, wow, girl, you're really doing this thing big time. So I was very proud of that. But yeah, I've had many times along my career of personally styling where I've had to work with so many women in general, not even women who are so well known. And it's just that feeling of empowering them in a way that they're already meant to be, but it's just that. So basically, how you feel on the inside, I'm just helping you express it on the outside. I feel like that's what I'm doing with the styling with women, and just really helping them show forth who they really are, that strong, confident, sophisticated, fearless person. And that's what clothing does. And so I've had so many moments that I've been proud of. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, Veronica, when I'm on Oprah, you can style
Girl,
me
you
also.
say less, like they say now. Say less. Got you.
Yes, although Oprah might be retired, so whoever's coming
It's
after Oprah,
okay.
I'm gonna be on there. Okay, so I'm looking at your
Yeah.
event. I know it looks like, so you have something on April
Mm-hmm.
27th and then you have something on May
Correct.
11th. So let's see, today is the 23rd. So we'll talk about the 27th, but this will probably air after the
Mm-hmm.
27th. So let's really focus on May
Okay.
11th. But can you tell us about the pop-up
Mm-hmm.
shop in Houston and also the pop-up shop in
Okay.
DMV?
So the whole concept of this was saying, you know what, who are some of the most amazing designers that we have in the retail store, Vane, in the Vane style retail store, that a high concentration of our shoppers globally absolutely love. And that the whole essence of this is to merge traditional one-way runway practices, which is these designers have put together amazing collections, and now we're picking the best of what they have, and we are in we are, what is it, introducing more of a fast fashion approach. So whereas you put a collection together and then you have to wait 6 months before you can actually access the collection or buy it or shop it, unless you have like moda operandi where you can pre-order. But who wants to pre-order? Nobody wants to pre-order nowadays, right?
I forgot what I already
Exactly.
ordered. By the time when it comes in, I'm always like, "Oh, I ordered this. I've already
Exactly.
bought
You're
something
like,
else
what are you
now."
talking, girl? I needed that outfit yesterday. I have one hot event that I need to attend. What are you talking about? I'm traveling to the Bahamas, girl. What are you talking about? 4 weeks. So basically, it is to literally merge these traditional practices from the designers, from the runway, select pieces from their amazing collections, edit it as a stylist would, and then now put it together and present the store immediately to the consumers who have actually seen these pieces and want them. So we're just reducing the time frame and also connecting a lot of these designers to their consumers who are all the way in the US or in Canada and in the UK that they necessarily wouldn't have been able to reach because they didn't have this multi-brand store. So it's just the store is now going on the road and bringing the items to the clients so that they can actually shop. And the whole idea was, we do have seasons. And so we were looking at it like, well, the season that is coming up to us is summer. Summer's coming up. There's a lot that happens. People have graduations. There are a lot of parties. Everyone's outside. People are traveling, relaxing. And so all we're doing is just bringing the pieces so everybody's now going to be summer ready fine and presenting it. So,
So what give us an example of some of the pieces because I know
mhm.
it's hard. Some people listen to the
Yes.
audio of this and some people actually watch the
Okay.
video on different platforms. And so give us the insight into what exactly are some of the pieces because I know I'll be honest, I'm very
Hmm.
ignorant when I'm kind of like the one where we said when we're talking about
Yes.
African culture, I'm like, "Oh, I feel hot
Hmm.
already because it's so many flows,
Yes.
it's just layers." I'm like, whoo, I gotta be African in the
Yes.
wintertime. So so tell us about like what are some of the pieces that you have and how you're implementing it
Okay, so
seasonal.
there's what we call like Ankara fabric. So the fabrics are light and they're made of cotton. And some of the styles are like print sets, like skirt sets, really, really short. Just imagine wearing a really, really short mini skirt with like a slightly oversized shirt that's like in print. So what is very essentially West African is the fabric, it's the print, but the cut and the silhouette is very modern. So you're able to wear it in the US with your tennis shoes, you're able to wear it with your joggers, if it's a t-shirt, and you're still able to feel connected in a way, but at the same time, you are still wearing like easy pieces, right? There are other items, and I mean, I'm not quite even sure if I can send pictures so that you have a better idea, but we have like kaftans that are made of linen and they're really easy and just, minimalist colors and just neutrals so that it's very breathable and easy to wear. And funny enough, that is actually worn more. It's more of a staple in West Africa than it is anywhere else, or if it's like in the Middle East. So it's just think of very much resort ready. So you're traveling for vacation and you have like a really nice kaftan. Funny enough, that's actually how we dress most of the time. On the weekends, during the week, it's very relaxed, very rich auntie is what they call it. So you have like these amazing kaftans. It's very rich auntie, So you have like these really amazing kaftans. You just kind of wear them with slippers. You taking notes, Holly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the rich
me. I'm
auntie
the
girl,
rich
and you just
auntie.
wear it
Yes.
on, and it's just very sophisticated with like simple earrings and like a watch and like some slippers, and you're really good to go. Very, very unassuming glam is how they kind of dress up. Yeah,
Okay, okay, got it, got it. Yes, and send me
I
some
will.
pictures and when I do a reel, I'll throw a couple of little like
Images, yeah, so
one
all the
second
people
one
can kind of, they
mhm,
can see what I'm
so
talking about. Hmm.
yes, yes. So okay, so how can people find your
Mm-hmm.
store, how can people find you, where they can
Mm-hmm.
support you, how they can shop, website,
Mm-hmm.
like, subscribe, support, all
Okay,
of that stuff.
so I am on Instagram, Veronica Adeka. The store is Vane Style, so it's spelled VANESTYLE style, and then SR at the end. So it's like Vane Style SR. And there we have the website link as well, which is shopvanestyle.com. And you can shop in the US. We ship directly. We use DHL. So you're going to get your package. So we ship quite often. But yeah, or if you ever come down to Nigeria, which I'm sure you will soon, Holly, because you got to come visit us.
I'm coming.
Yes,
I'm
girl.
coming. And now, look, it's already summer. I missed it this year. I'll be next year. Next
There,
winter.
that's what I'm
I'm
talking about.
there.
So the store is here, in the metropolitan city of Victoria Island, and people can just stop by and kind of shop directly or book a consultation with me to kind of help them get their wardrobes together. But yeah, the website is up and functioning. The physical store is available, or of course they can just come through to the pop up if they're in Houston, May 11th. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. And you guys, I will also have all of the
Mm-hmm.
information in the podcast notes as well, and then whatever I post on social media, I'll
Mm-hmm.
also have it tagged. But again, the Instagram is
Mm-hmm.
VANESTYLESR. So make sure that you go there, and then you can also stalk Veronica as well. I'm sure
No.
she doesn't mind. Some more
Mm-hmm.
supportive followers. So, all right. Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Veronica. It was
Holly.
so lovely to
Same
meet you.
here.
Yes, and I'll see you because I'm in town. Hold up, let me check my calendar because I don't like to lie. So far, I'm in
Okay.
town on May 11th. Oh, that's
Yes,
Mother's Day
isn't it? That was
weekend.
so smart, huh? Girl, everybody's gonna come get their outfits. Yeah.
So if y'all are looking,
Hmm.
yeah, you're looking
Gift for
for
your
a last minute
mom.
gift for
Yep, come
mom,
by. We're gonna have a lot of really amazing
we
things.
got
So
you.
that, yeah, I'm excited to see everyone.
Okay, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. All
Thank you
right.
so